Hi, I'm Kate Mueller, Chief Product Owl and Resident Cheesemonger here at KnowledgeOwl, and welcome to the June monthly newsletter. This month, we've been working on some larger things, so we've got a few little updates, but more importantly, we have a little bit of sneak peek into some big changes that are going to be heading your way soon. So let's get into it. So the first feature change I want to discuss today is in Settings Basic, in the website settings section, related articles. So related articles is a section that generally appears at the bottom of an article, might be in the right-hand column, that lists relevant related articles. And you have two options here. You can manually assign related articles as you are editing content in the editor, and/or you can use automatically suggested related articles. And we've had this setting for a long time. It just sort of suggests content based off of an article title search across your entire knowledge base. The new setting here is this: only automatically suggest articles from the current top level category. So this is a way to make your related articles list a little bit less noisy. And depending on your information architecture, this might make a great deal of sense. So if, for example, you have a different product or a different department as your top level category, this allows you to still make use of those automatically suggested related articles, but to make sure that they only pertain to the product or department that the person's currently looking at. So for example, this is a release note we have for an upcoming API change. And with our default automatic suggest behavior, the related articles it gives me here are kind of scattered across our entire knowledge base. 3 of these are other release notes. 2 of them are content that lives in totally different sections of our knowledge base. If I enable that option to only suggest within the same top level category, I get a related articles section that is only release notes because that's the top level category I'm currently in. So if you're feeling like your related articles are a bit noisy, or your information architecture lends itself particularly well to this, you might want to play around with this new setting. The other major feature update we have is in the customized text tool. We've now pulled in nearly all of the text fields that exist on an article. So that related articles header itself, for example, if you're using article ratings, the text that gets displayed for the ratings. If you're using article comments, the text that gets displayed down here. If you have kept the last modified stamp in the metadata of the article, or if you're using PDFs, the text that displays when you hover over the PDF icon. All of these things are added into this article knowledge base section within the customized text tool. A couple quick things on this. Both ratings and comments already had text fields that you could customize. So what we've largely done here has been to just migrate those fields over from the features themselves into the customized text tool. What I'd really like you to do if you're using either of these features is to come in and just make sure that the labels that we imported as your customized text string are actually correct. In a couple cases, there were like special characters that didn't come through properly or something like that. So just give it a quick once over, be sure it still looks good. If there is anything you need to adjust, you can click the little gear cog icon and edit and update text string, and it'll fix the problem for you. The other thing I want to point out is that there are a couple text strings that will give you warnings when you start to edit them. So in the article section, this is last modified on and related articles. If I go to edit this, I get this little pop-up warning that says, to display this text string, update your knowledge base theme to use the appropriate customized text merge code. This can seem really intimidating and scary. I'm actually going to do an entire Wisdom Wednesday on it on July 5th, just to make it less intimidating and scary. But the basic gist of this is that for some of the text that we use across the knowledge base, we have hard-coded that text in the past. So if I come into custom HTML and article, you'll see last modified on is just straight text in here, as is related articles. So in order for your knowledge base to recognize those text customizations, we basically have to replace this text with a new merge code so that it will pull in that adjusted text. So we've got merge codes for a lot of these things that you can plop in. There's full documentation on it available. I'm also going to do a Wisdom Wednesday on it, so I don't want to get too far into the weeds right now, other than to say you might see this particular warning. There is documentation on it, and it will walk you through it. And if you want a video walkthrough on it, you can come hang out with me in a couple weeks. So those are the two big kind of feature enhancements we've had. Have recordings up now from our last two Wisdom Wednesdays, both of which were on versions. So the May 24th Wisdom Wednesday, we covered a general orientation to versions, how they differ from revisions, how you might use them, what the basic workflow on using versions is. And then on June 7th, we talked specifically through different methods that you can use to seek feedback or review on versions before you activate them, and then different methods that there are for activating. Whether you're activating a version for a single article or whether you want to activate new versions for multiple articles at once. So check out the videos there. They could be really good resources for you if you're not super familiar with versions or you just want a little bit more insight. Other than that, let's talk a little bit forward-looking. Probably the biggest set of changes we have coming out relates to any of our features that use SMTP. So these are features that are sending emails out that we've allowed you, or in some cases required you, to set up your own SMTP that will process the emails so that they don't get flagged as spam because they're not us sending on your behalf. They're actually leveraging your email server. So subscriptions is one of these. The other I can think of easily off the top of my head is readers. We give you the option with readers to set up a custom SMTP to send your reader welcome and password reset emails. So the two big changes that are coming to SMTP world. First off, we have always used what's called a basic authentication or basic auth model for SMTP, where you put in a single username and a password, and that's what gets used to authenticate. A lot of the big email providers are moving away from basic authentication toward an OAuth 2, which is just a different authentication model. It's more secure. A lot of them are starting to discourage basic auth, if not make it very difficult to use basic auth. So change number one is that we're starting to add OAuth 2 support in here. And the first provider we will be adding this for is Microsoft. So if you've been using Microsoft for your SMTP, this change will particularly affect you. Microsoft has gotten pretty heavy-handed about wanting people to not use basic auth anymore. So we'll be rolling out that change so you can update to OAuth 2. For those of you using other providers, if you are seeing that they want you to move to OAuth 2, please drop our support team an email and let us know, because we're only going to build out OAuth 2 for the providers that we have customer requests for. The other change that we are making here is, you'll notice that I had to navigate into a couple different places to show each of these SMTP screens. That is, for us, not a great experience. And it can make it very hard if you just want to reuse the same SMTP settings across features or even across multiple knowledge bases in the same account. So we will be moving the SMTP settings out of these individual features. There will be a new top level your account menu option that'll just say SMTP. That will allow you to configure an SMTP setting that you can then just apply to the features that you want. So if I'm in here in readers, once this change goes out, instead of configuring SMTP here within the readers page, I will instead just have a drop down that will be populated with the existing SMTPs set up for my entire account, and I can select which one I'm using. This will also allow us to provide more information around, like, is your SMTP not working properly? Are we getting errors when we try to send to it? We're really trying to improve the end user experience of working with SMTPs, which is not really an ideal experience to start with. The last kind of big upcoming change will impact those of you who are using our API, specifically the article endpoint, for integrations or API calls and snippets. So you've probably seen this little warning out on the announcements section that we are making a formatting change to the article endpoint. That will link to the release note I used as an example earlier. The basic change here is that we had previously been storing the values here of true, false as strings, and we're changing them to be proper Boolean values. So if you are doing logic off of that prevent searching field, so you're filtering off of it or something like that, you'll need to update your code to be sure that it can handle both strings as well as proper booleans. There's a lot more about it in this release note. If you are trying to make updates to API calls and you have questions, please contact our support team. But we will be pushing that change out next Tuesday, June 27th. So you'll want to get those changes in place, or just be aware that as of June 27th, you may start seeing articles not be filtered properly. All right, I think that covers all the stuff I really wanted to be sure we talked about this month. One last thing. In the next few weeks, you will be getting an email from us with our annual customer survey in it. And this is my personal plea to say, please, please, please fill it out. We get useful feedback from that. Very often we get incredibly brilliant ideas from people like you. We do take those responses very seriously. So if you see it show up, we would hugely appreciate if you take the couple minutes it takes to fill it out and send it back. And otherwise, I will see you 1 month